One little hot towel, and we'll be right through it. Yeah.
If you enjoy the humor of W.C. Fields, Fred Allen, the Marx Brothers, or Amos and Andy, don't touch that dial, or this might happen to you.
All right. That's it. All right. Oh.
This town ain't big enough for both of us.
You'll have to go out, but I can't hold in. And remember another thing. He who laughs last
Gets the funny papers on Tuesday.
Oh, no. He takes off the coat and vest unless I get my money back.
And you can't wait until I've closed up?
Put up or take off.
I have heard of men of your ilk, but never until this very moment, my foul friend, have I had the ill luck to meet one face to whatever you are using for a face on the premises here this afternoon. I only wish that I were a pallbearer and you the object of my call. And all right, look at those food stains on your coat. I really should say grace before I look at you there.
I am Count Dracula. I'm going to bite you on the neck.
I already gave at the office.
Good evening. Welcome to the mad, mad world of comedy. Here I am at the Maskers Club in Hollywood, sitting here with all my friends. They would have been here tonight, except there was a terrible blizzard in Alaska. Rim shot, please. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to meet and visit with some of the funniest men and women in show business. All very good friends of mine who are experts on the art form of comedy. And we're really going to find out what makes people laugh.
Mr. Cornblow to you.
Have you a suite for me and my wife?
Your wife, eh?
Yes, and we'd like something very elegant.
I see. Have you got any baggage?
Of course. It's on its way over from the airfield.
In all the years I've been in the hotel business, that's the phoniest story I've ever heard. I suppose your name is Smith.
No, it's Smythe, spelled with a Y.
Oh, that's the English version. Mr. Smythe and no baggage. Let me see your marriage license.
What? How dare you, sir?
How do you like that? Puts a Y in Smith and expects me to let him in the hotel with a strange dame.
Strange dame?
She is to me. I've never seen her before.
Sir, you may not be aware of it, but I am president of the Morocco Laundry Company.
You are? Well, take this shirt and have it back Friday. Mr. Smythe? Or Smith? This is a family hotel, and I suggest you take your business elsewhere.
Sir, this lady is my wife. You should be ashamed.
If this lady is your wife, you should be ashamed.
You'll hear from me.
Do that, even if it's only a postcard.
Sir, my attorneys will be here in the morning.
Yeah, well, they won't get a room either unless they got a marriage license.
Look, Andy, grab me up a dozen of your nicest donuts and charge them to my account. And don't give me no more of them broken ones like you did the last time, or I'll take my business elsewhere.
Would you, Kingfish?
Don't worry, my friend. I've never killed an unarmed man. Your sword, Grisman. Oh!
Just look at that. Do they have any decency?
It's absolutely shameful.
Right here in a public theater.
I've never been so shocked in my whole life.
I'm leaving.
So am I.
Come on, Alice.
Don Rickles, Jack Benny, Groucho Marx, Edie Adams, Barbara Feldon. You'll see them all tonight on Milton Berle's Mad, Mad World of Comedy. Milton's guest stars are the fabulous Flip Wilson, one of America's brightest new comedians, Albert Brooks, the incomparable Don Adams, all on Milton Berle's Mad, Mad World of Comedy.
This is the world-famous Maskers Club, a landmark that's been here since the golden days of Hollywood. Its only purpose is to furnish shelter, friendship, and love to actors, directors, and writers, and all the other creative artists who have made Hollywood the mecca of entertainment. I'm only one of many, many members who through the years have taken advantage of this unique show business haven. The Maskers was conceived in 1925 by 8 Hollywood actors who decreed this shall be a club of love, loyalty, and laughter. Their motto tells the whole story. We laugh to win. And so for the past half-century, all the greats and near greats of our business have met here to break bread, drink to each other's sorrows and triumphs, and most precious of all, to share the love of laughter with their brother Maskers. This is the famous George Spelvin Award presented by the Maskers each year. It's their version of an Oscar, an Emmy, or a Tony presented to the performer who has made an outstanding contribution to show business. And the first winner was... Some of the other proud recipients were George Gobel, Harold Lloyd, Lucille Ball, Edgar Bergen, and so many, many more. Now here's a talent that is certainly deserving of this honor. He'll probably be getting one of these very, very soon. Flip Wilson. Flip, you know, for many years, all the black comedians took a subservient attitude about certain things. Then along came Dick Gregory, and black comedy had a whole new direction. I want to ask you something. Could a man tan Moreland make it now, today?
I believe he could. There was, I think that the biggest objection to black comedy at that time was the one dimension of how the black was portrayed.
I know what you mean, Flip, because I once appeared in a film with a great black comic, but he never received the recognition he was due. Willie Best. There he is.
Well, there she is. That old ship could only talk.
If she do, I ain't gonna be here to answer. What's that?
It's a foghorn.
Sound like Gable to me, boss. Let's get it.
Bring the luggage. We're going aboard.
You think we better, boss?
Yes, before we get pneumonia.
That ain't what's worrying me. Excuse me, Post.
If the dimension had been broader, I think it would have been very acceptable. Like I myself have never had an objection to Little Black Sambo. It's my opinion, it's a person's own business how many pancakes they want to eat. And in the stories of Little Black Sambo, black is beautiful, Sambo was black. Sambo had on very neat clothes. The jungle was very clean. He was nice to the tiger. And there was I thought people were just a little too sensitive about it. And just, if a few other dimensions had been shown, the total way of black life and the human relation to it, it would have been very acceptable. I think, Milton, now that since we're dealing with what would be considered a delicate area, I think that a great tribute has to be paid to you, and my respect to you, because it's always been extremely difficult for a male to portray a female image and have it accepted by the female segment of the audience. And you were the first pioneer to successfully convey that image.
The dress, you mean?
Yes, yes, you did it.
I don't want to say
I saw
it.
you. You inspired me.
I don't want to say it, but I still wear them on the street. I forgot.
Just around the corner, there's a rainbow in the sky. So let's have another cup of coffee, and let's have another piece of pie.
During my early days in vaudeville and shows, I met a lot of great, great black comedians. Of course, you heard of Bert Williams.
Yes, yes,
Got
yes.
some of his records. You never saw him, did you?
No, I never saw him. But I am very interested in Bert Williams, and I would love to do the Bert Williams life story because Bert and I look a lot alike, our physical features. I think he was heavier than me, but he had the round head and the big eyes. And
well, that's your ambition now to do the Bert Williams story?
well, I'd like to do that, and if
I'd
I
like
can't...
to do the Andy Williams story. That's what now, shows like, going back to color again, shows like the Amos and Andy shows.
Yes.
You know, even on radio, I think the liberals were screaming about the black people loving the show.
I haven't heard any objection voiced to any of the shows that are on, and I don't think that Amos and Andy were any more negative than whatever's on now.
Now, what's this I hear about Andy having a nickel worth $250?
That's right, Henry. I accidentally found out about it. Now all I gotta do is figure out a way to get it away from him.
Well, knowing you, Kingfish, that should be a minor operation.
Kingfish, I've been expecting a letter that was supposed to, excuse me, Andy, can't you see I've taken a blood count here? 3, and 4, that's 2. That's the most anemic blood I ever did see. Well, Andy, old pal, it's good seeing you. Excuse the rubber glove. I just come from a big operation.
Kingfish, you mean to say that you is an actual doctor?
Well, I ain't been blabbing it around, but I've been taking a correspondence course in doctoring from that big medical school down there in Baltimore, John Vanderbilt.
Oh, I done heard about that place, yeah. What's the matter?
Wait a minute here.
Kingfish, is you and good or and bad?
Well, in between. Better take another look here. I see you are suffering from a slight inflagration of the optimistic nerve there.
Oh, me.
Now, I don't want to worry you or frighten you or nothing like that. But if you got any reading to do, you better do it within the next 2 weeks.
2 weeks? Kingfish, you the doctor. What must I do?
Well, I can't tell till I look into it a little deeper.
Deeper? How deep is you got to look?
Pretty deep. Take off your pants.
Wait a minute, Kingfish. If this trouble's with my eyes, how come I got to take my pants off?
That's a secret of obstetricity. So don't argue with the obstetrical. Yeah, put that on. And hurry up, too, because I got a full schedule of doctor in here. So I think I'm going to have to squeeze you in between an appendicitis and loose liver.
Is you done located the trouble with my eyes yet, Kingfish?
It ain't hitting your adenoid. Turn around. Well, better take a look in this air here. Sure is dark in there. Wait a minute till I get my flashlight here. Andy, you hold this there while I run around looking at the other side. Any light coming through all right?
Ah, good, good.
Yeah, well, Andy, I see the trouble now. It's with your eyes, all right?
What you mean with my eyes?
Well, after giving you thorough examination, I find that the root of your trouble is eye strain. Yeah, my boy, you done changed your eyes.
Yeah. I know I ain't been seeing the way I oughta. You ought to see some of the gals I've been whistling at lately.
Andy, I prescribe that you give your eyes complete rest. Yeah, you gotta rest at least an hour each day.
Yeah, but ain't it kind of hard to rest your eyes without resting the rest of you?
No, son. Medical science done found out a way to overcome that. Yeah. You got to shut out the light completely. Yeah, you got to shut out all the light. All the light. Go on want you to see nothing. Now, sit down. Oh, not there, Andy, not there. Here's the chair over here. Now, you sit right here. Sit down there on the chair now. Just sit down. Yeah, everything gonna be all right now.
Can you see anything? I can't see nothing. Say, Kingfish, where is you? I was scared.
No, wait a minute now. Now, sit down, Andy. Sit down. Now, sit down there now. Now, just sit there and relax. Everything gonna be all right.
Kingfish, hold my hand.
Hold your hands?
Yeah, hold my hand. If you don't hold my hand this second, I'm gonna take this bandage right off.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Here's my hand. Now, just hang right on to it there. Hang right on to it.
That's better. Well, I'm sure is cold.
That's because I've been having chills here lately.
Kingfish, I know you was here, but it sounds like your voice is coming from the other side of the room.
It just sounds like that way, Andy. It's the acoustic. I stand right here alongside you.
Oh, good boy. Good boy. You know, Kingfish, you was a real pal to stay so close to me when I was scared like this.
I'd like to see Miss Andy brought back. I think it would make a nice couple smash weeks.
Well, if Tim Moore was living today and he
Well, I mean for reruns, you know, like a festival
rerun?
time.
Yeah, I'd like to
Something
see
like that. Do a month
few
of Amos
old
and
Berle
Andy.
shows today, too.
Yes.
I'd like to see
Yes.
for the residuals.
Yes.
Well, there's another couple of questions.
Yeah.
You got any place to go?
Yes, well, I'm standing on the lawn down the street.
Now, I would have answered that if I had a writer. Did you ever feel like going dramatic?
Yes. I would like very much to. I think that any natural comic is a good dramatic actor. But I feel that my first venture into a motion picture should be as a comic. I came as a comic, and I shall not ever deviate and cause too radical a change in my audience's mind. I must be a comic first, and if I achieve success as a comic in the medium, then I would try a dramatic role.
In other words, go with your strength first.
Take my best shot.
Take your best shot. Well, Flip, I'm very, very glad that you came over to Damascus to say hello, and thank you very, very
Well,
much.
Milton, let me say you are a giant. You always have been a giant.
And you know what happened to the Giants this year?
Yes.
Flip Wilson, ladies and gentlemen. My next friend is a young man who typifies the whole new breed of comedy. He's got a wild, creative mind and a true touch of genius. His name is Albert Brooks. But before I speak to him here at the round table, I want you to watch this. This is his brilliant satire on an imaginary commercial on a school for comedians.
Hello, I'm Albert Brooks, and I'm speaking to you on behalf of the famous School for Comedians, located on 22 gorgeous acres near Arlington National Park. How many times have you gotten nice laughs at a party, had a friend turn to you and say, you know something? That was pretty funny. You should think about being a comedian. Well, your friend was right. Yes, the comedy fraternity of show business is a fast-paced, nutty, funny world. There are always openings for good comedy talent. But you say, I just don't know if I have what it takes to become a professional, Albert. So I say, why not find out? Yes, that's right. We'll send you a free comedy talent test that will tell us in just 5 short minutes whether or not you have a future in comedy. But more about that later. First, come with me if you will, and let's have a brief look at the school. I think you'll like what you see. First today, we'll visit comedy take class. Here the students practice all kinds of takes. The double take, the elbow take, and today they're working on the spit take, made so famous by Danny Thomas on Make Room for Daddy. Remember when Danny would be drinking coffee? His agent Sid would come in with some surprising news. Danny would spit the coffee all over Sid and the furniture. Let's see how these kids are doing.
All right, Now, that was pretty good, but I'd like to try it just one more time in the same way. Now, remember, I've just walked into the room. Now, start to drink. Good. Now, I speak. Guess what? I just heard from the bank, and not only don't you have any money, but your sister is dead. Except again, Carol, you didn't put the liquid in your mouth.
How about that? Very good. Terrific. That's my man, my friend at the round table here. Albert, how does...
Before we start, I'd like to make an announcement here.
An announcement?
I'm playing for Miss Rose Harmon of Toluca Lake.
That's the wrong show. Albert, how does the new wave style of comedy today differ from the comedy of, would you say, of 20 or 25 years ago?
Well, I was like 1 year old 25 years ago, so I really
we'll
don't
say
know.
15 years ago.
15 years ago. I think comedians are better looking. I think, I don't know. Sometimes I really wonder if anything ever changes. Do you know what I mean? Well, you know
is there
what I
a different style to the jokes that are told by the young comedians?
Well, I think that possibly if there is any major difference, I think jokes per se, stories about unrelated characters, these two men walked into a bar, are probably disappearing. I don't want to be the one to have to break that to you. I think that it seems that people, that comedians are really taking from their own lives more.
You don't believe in one-liners, do you?
I really don't travel by boat at any time.
No, I'm not. Albert, if you want to do some ad-libbing, we'll do. I'm trying to talk very seriously.
Okay, I'll tell you what. When you talk, let me hold this, okay?
You say certain things are disappearing, and I sort of have to not agree with you when we take a giant like Bob Hope that does topical material and current events, that does one-liners and observational lines. Maybe that's not your agenda.
Yeah, but Bob Hope has been doing that for a long, long time.
Well,
now,
he's still a very big giant.
What I'm saying is that there is a group of comedians, shall we say, from the ages of
16?
60. 60 to 70, people that have been doing this for a long time that are still successful at it because they still have an audience. But eventually that leaves and something new comes along, and then eventually I'll be 60, hopefully, and there'll be someone new come along, or hopefully there won't be.
Then you believe that the styles will change, then?
Well, of course, everything changes. Have you seen the new Ford?
I didn't know that. Are today's comedians less interested in physical comedy and sight gags?
Well, physical comedy will never go away, I don't think. It's just that along with it, you have to start doing other things.
Agreed.
For example, I think craziness is a wonderful form of comedy.
Nutty.
But yes, nutty's a great one. But nutty without thought behind it is just nutty. I mean, it's just, that's all it is. It's 2 hours
You
of
mean you
nutty.
must have a reason to be nutty?
I think the more...
I have to disagree with you again there, but that's... I think the non sequitur comedian who will take Henny Youngman, please. Who says, I feel great, I was up this morning cracking my knuckles, took a brisk walk to the bathroom, back in bed at 6:05. Boy, can my wife argue, Shaq, because speaking of taxes, he's all over.
Right, except Henny Youngman can still do that.
Well, they still, what I'm trying to say, they still laugh at it.
Yes, but they've been laughing at that for, in other words...
If Youngman's been doing it for 40 years, they've been laughing
but Henny Youngman still has his audience. He still has the audience.
Oh, he's
that
found
he
a lot of
started
new
at.
people, too.
He
found an Aunt Newark.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to say
I was just kidding,
is,
of course.
I know you
don't know about it.
2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
What I mean, Albert, is that a joke is a joke is a joke.
Okay.
Funny is funny. A line is funny.
Yeah.
Whether it has been said by Will Rogers or back in the days of stand-up comedians of Frank Fay.
I don't agree, because I think what...
You mean a joke on paper is not funny?
It all depends what kind of paper.
Oh, well, I don't want you to make an issue of the tissue, but I do want to say... You see, now that's now let me explain what to our
Let's
viewers.
take this apart.
Now let's take, you mean on what paper? And I said, don't make an issue of the tissue. That's what we call the topper, which sometimes bombs.
Right.
But when an audience is rolling,
yes,
and you've got them on a roll, and I must explain that to our many viewers, when the audience is on the roll and they're laughing, they seem to be motivating and progressing with the laugh, and sometimes they don't know what they're laughing at because it gets hysterically funny in delivery. A great comedian, there's only one like him, is Jack Benny, who has been built up on characterization. His characterization of being cheap or being the butt of his own joke and being the patsy.
Right.
And if you look at a Jack Benny script, and I have seen many, and I have many in my files, I just is that if you look and it says Jack Benny and it says equals, it says well. Well, there's nothing funny about the word well unless Jack Benny portrays it.
Right.
It says,
right,
well, or, you know, with his pauses and his timing. And that is built up on characterization.
I'd like to tell you, because I made a little copy of it here, about a personal letter I got from the honorary chairman, Frank Sinatra. Now, I was also an honorary chairman for a dinner given to Sinatra not too long ago. Now, remember, I wasn't chairman. I was the honorary chairman, which is entirely different. An honorary chairman, which Frank is tonight, an honorary chairman is comparable to a man at a musical recital who turns the pages for Arthur Rubinstein. He has to be there, but nobody gives a damn. Now, getting back to this letter that I got to be here from Sinatra, I have notes here. Didn't want to bring the letter. It says, quote, "Dear Jack, the Friars Club is going to pay tribute to Milton Berle with a testimonial dinner, and I would like you to be on the dais. This dinner to Milton promises to be a most memorable event." Remember that, a most memorable event. Now, my definition of a memorable event obviously differs from Sinatra's. When Neil Armstrong first put his foot on the moon, that, to me, was a memorable event. The Skylab astronauts returning to Earth after 59 days in space, that, I would say, is a memorable event. When Alexander Graham Bell said, "Can you hear me, Jack?" I would say that would be a memorable event. And I'll bet you, right now, in some room in this hotel, there's a little old gray-haired gentleman and a little old gray-haired lady celebrating what they think is a memorable event. So a dinner honoring Berle, America's greatest comedian, hardly falls, I think, into that category. Now, getting back to this letter that I got from Sinatra, quote, "Now, Jack, I shall be awaiting your reply. This is exactly the words that were in the letter. I shall be awaiting your reply, and I hope you will join us to make this one of the most unforgettable nights honoring this giant of show business. Just repeat these last few words. I hope you will join us to make this one of the most unforgettable nights honoring this giant of show. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. Frank Sinatra retired for a while, and he lives down in Palm Springs where the temperature is never less than 110 degrees. And Frank likes the sun. So when you stay out in that heat long enough, you can forget what a giant looks like.
Jack Benny can say well and can still get laughs and is still funny. But you're asking me, what you were asking me is about today. Let's say people that are starting today. It would be very difficult for someone to start today by copying Jack Benny or Henny Youngman.
That's the way we all started in the early days.
Well,
that's the way we all started in the early days. We had to put somebody up on a pinnacle.
But those were days before television and before everybody got to see those people. I mean, you could take, I'm not saying this personally, Milton, but you could take someone's vaudeville act verbatim.
Always.
Right. And use it, and you could travel around different sections of the country. But people are exposed so fast, and the medium eats up people so fast that you have to have something new to offer, or I think you're going to be.
Well, you have the new breed, and you're terrific. One more question. Today's comedians seem to touch on subjects that the audience can sort of identify with. It has been said, and I guess it's true, you write your own material?
Yes, I do.
Everything that you've done?
So far, everything I've done, yeah.
Well, I think writing your own material is a great thing, and it's terrific. I don't write my own material.
I heard.
All right. Do you ever run out of material? I mean, how many routines have you got?
Well, I must have, I don't know, 30, 35. How's that?
Still stuck with sawing a woman in half and get the part that eats. That's what I'm stuck with.
I have that, so I'll make it 34.
Well, what happens when you run out of it? Did you ever run out of material?
I came to a point where I was booked on a Tonight Show, and I had to do it, and I started the process, and it's that mystical process. I don't know how it works. Getting drunk helps. I was just walking around going,
what am I going to say?
Yeah, so what am I going to do? What am I going to say? And I did not come up with anything, and then I began to make that into that whole idea into a brand new kind of bit. Just simply the idea of literally not having anything to do. And so...
In other words, you used not having material as subject matter for a scene that you did?
Yeah, as material, yes.
I think I saw that.
Here I am, 5 years into my career. I have no more material left. It surprised the hell out of me. I'll be honest with you, last Thanksgiving, while you people were celebrating, I was down to my last bit. I ignored all those time to write more signs, and I'll tell any young comedians watching, if you get down to the last 20%, it's as good as nothing. Okay, now look, I think there's more inside of me. There has to be more bits in here. It's just at this time in my life, it's so deep that I'll do injury to myself to go in and get it. So why am I here? Well, I don't know. I mean, I really didn't want to be on the show, to be honest with you. I thought I'd just come back to the Tonight Show when I had something to do. But I should fill you in on my life a little bit. I get 10, 15 calls a day from agents, managers, pimps, lots of interesting people.
And they say to me, Albert, if you don't go on TV, they're going to forget your face. And then I have trouble shaving for a week, see? I have a record company. They call me every day. They say, Albert, you got a record out? Comedy -1, the album with a mirror on the back and the script in the middle? How are people going to know it's maybe the funniest record ever made and it's on ABC Records and GRT tapes if you don't go on television? And I say, look, I don't know. Now, ladies and gentlemen, hey, I could have fooled you. You know what I mean? What, to get laughs? I could have fooled you to get laughs, but that's not what it's all about. I'm trying to be honest with you. I couldn't resort to cheap tricks? Come on, I can drop my pants as easy as anyone in the business, you know what I mean? What? I can get the comedy shorts from Sears. I can stop a makeup man in the hall and say, do me a favor, draw a funny face on my chest, you know what I mean? You don't think I could take $3 and what? I couldn't go to the market? Can't I buy a pie? You got your eyes out here. That's not what I'm trying to do here. Hell, I can break eggs on my head as easily as anyone in the business. You know what I mean? What? A pound cake? Who cares? I don't care. But that's not what I'm all about. If I was all about that, I'd go out and get seltzer. What? I could do this whole thing. Can't put whipped cream all over me. Gentlemen, this isn't the real me. This isn't what I'm about. If I've done nothing else here tonight, I'd like to at least instill a trust between you and me as a comedian, you as an audience. A trust that'll last throughout my career and throughout your lifetime. A trust that you know if you see my name in TV Guide, if you see it in the record store, if you see it on a bus, you know that work's gone behind it, that quality's gone behind it. Because this isn't me.
And now another dear friend, one of our greatest comedians. Ladies and gentlemen, Don Adams. Donnie? I don't have to tell our viewers and on Mad Mad World of Comedy or folks here at Masters that you personally won 3 Emmys for your performance in Get Smart, and the show won 5 Emmys. True?
Yes. That's true, Milton. I just told you that before we got on the air.
Oh, shut up, please. Don, in your early days of your nightclub work, who were you? And I mean in person, in your style, and how did you find yourself?
Well, when I started out, I was an impressionist, and I worked with a guy by the name of Jay Lawrence, who was Larry Storch's brother.
Right.
And we did 60 impressions, and we worked at a place called Bill Jordan's Bar of Music in Miami Beach.
I remember, right.
And we did 60 impressions of everybody in the world, and we ended up with Winston Churchill and Franklin Delano Roosevelt, with big music and everything. And on opening night, this is the first time we'd ever worked professionally, Jay was so frightened that we started it off, we did Clem McCarthy. You remember Clem McCarthy, the sports announcer?
Races, yeah.
Well, we both did Clem McCarthy, so we used that as a gimmick. Impressionists always had to use gimmicks, you know, a Hollywood party or a fight. This was a fight.
You mean I had to lay a premise and a subject matter?
Good evening, sport fans, and here we are at ringside. And that was Clem McCarthy, and then we'd say, sitting around ringside are a bunch of celebrities, and stepping up now to say a few words is none other than Cary Grant. And then Jay would go into, hello, Judy, Judy, Judy. And then after he'd finish his Cary Grant, he'd go into Clem McCarthy, and then, what? He'd go into Clem McCarthy and introduce Ronald Colman, which I would do, and then we'd do 60 impressions and end off with Winston Churchill and Roosevelt. So the first night, the second show, we came out, and I did my Clem McCarthy, introduced his Cary Grant, and he got so nervous that he went from his Cary Grant back to Clem McCarthy, introducing Winston Churchill.
Oh.
So I did Winston Churchill, introduced Roosevelt, we did 3 impressions, and we were off.
And that was it?
It was the shortest act in the history of the world. We came back for an encore and did 60 minutes.
Do you believe in the theory, Don, that until you find a character for yourself, that you can base your comedy that you're doing on just non sequitur jokes?
No. For me, it was a very lucky thing. When I started out, one of the first routines that I ever wrote was a thing called The Detective, which was a takeoff on William Powell in The Thin Man. And it was a piece of comedy which, you know, the detective gets all messed up in summing up the case at the end. And it was a very successful piece on television. But more important than that was, William Powell had a way of talking, a very clipped kind of way of talking. And what I did was take that voice and exaggerate it about 4 or 5 times. And that voice gave me an identification. Now, anybody that has an identification, so when I did Get Smart and I came on, people would identify with that voice. They would identify so strongly with that voice that what was normally just amusing would become funny when that voice was used. And that voice was contagious. And that voice was an identification for me. When I used to be on the show, like we would have an actor on the show, right? And we would have a scene together, and I would say to him, all right, you'll go down to the drugstore and pick up the package. And he would say, okay, I'll go down to the drugstore and pick up the package. And the director would say, all right, let's get it ready, roll them, all right, action. And I'd say, you'll go down to the drugstore and you'll pick up the package. And he'd say, I'll go down to the drugstore and I'll pick up the package. And then the director would say, no, wait a minute, hold it, that's not right. And then the guy... The sound man would say, I got it good. And everybody was talking like that until finally it came to a point where I didn't know how to do the original. I was doing impressions of people doing impressions of me.
Be very quiet, 99.
Don't slam the door.
What'd you say?
Max, did this man Becker tell you exactly where he was going to meet us?
No, all he said on the phone was to meet him backstage at midnight, and he'd be waiting for us.
Look, Max, there's a light coming from the stage.
Come on.
I don't see him, Max.
Well, he must be around here someplace, 99. I'll cover the stage, you cover backstage.
Right.
Now, if anything happens, we'll give the long whistle signal.
Max, I'm scared. Be careful.
You too, 99. Any sign of Becker, 99?
He's not backstage, Max.
I don't understand it, 99. When he called me on the phone, he said that it was absolutely urgent that we meet him here. He said the whole future of the United States depended upon it.
Did he say anything else?
Well, yes, as a matter of fact, he did mention something else.
What was it?
Well, I can't remember. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I know what he said. He said... his life was in danger. I don't know.
Are you Harlow Becker? He called us all the way down here just to tell us that?
We were talking about, what's his name, Don Reichman?
Rickles.
And the two Dons did a show together, you and Don Rickles, and it was called...
We did several shows together.
Yeah, one special I recall was called Hooray for Hollywood.
Yes, we did it was a special that I did, a Don Adams special for CBS, and it was a takeoff on Jack Haley's documentary films, Hollywood and the Stars. And what we did was 50 years of films in which we did excerpts from films from the very first talkies from Charlie Chaplin right up to the present day.
You did Gaslight and all that
the
stuff?
Midnight Cowboy. We did them real. We acted them out dramatically and paid them off with some kind of a punchline.
Oh, I know.
And so we did exact scenes from the great movies. Now, in the scene that you're about to see, it was a scene from Wuthering Heights. Now, I had written the show, and what happened was that I was doing it with Edie Adams. I was playing Heathcliff, and she was playing Kathy, and it was a death scene from Wuthering Heights. And I said to her, she said, well, what are we going to do? And I said, well, look, just play it straight, as dramatically like Merle Oberon. I'll play it like Laurence Olivier, and just, I'm not going to tell you beyond that what's going to happen. So she had no idea what was going to happen. To tell the truth, I had a very small idea myself. I was improvising. And we played this death scene real, and then what happened, happened. I improvised what happened. And if you'll notice, when you see the film clip, that all during the shot, Edie Adams was fighting to keep from laughing. Her voice was shaking because she had no idea what was coming up.
Heathcliff.
Kathy. Oh, Kathy, why did you wander off like a wanton, greedy child to break your heart and mine? All the powers in heaven and earth, nothing could have parted us, only you.
Heathcliff, please. I'm dying.
Oh, Kathy, why did God give me life? It's nothing but hunger and pain.
Oh, Heathcliff, please.
No. No, Catherine Earnshaw. My tears do not pity you. They curse and damn you. I know that souls have wandered upon the face of the earth. Wander then. Haunt me, drive me mad. Only do not leave me in this dark abyss where I cannot find you. I cannot live without my life. I cannot die without my soul.
Heathcliff, please, before I die, take me to the window and let me see the heather once more.
With all the power of a soul for 100 years, he couldn't love you half as much as I do in one single solitary hour.
Heathcliff.
Yes, Kathy.
I can't see.
In conclusion, I'd like to ask you something. In speaking to promising young comics that are probably watching us now, Don, what is your advice of how to be a successful comedian?
Well, it's a very difficult question to answer, particularly in this day and age. You know, in my time and in your time, there were places for comedians to learn their trade, to work in burlesque houses, and to work in nightclubs, and to work in strip joints, and to work, and eventually over the years to get their timing right, to get their material right, to get how to deal with audiences right, and eventually, when the time came that they were professionals and they knew what they were doing, if they were in the right time at the right place and they were lucky, they would become successful. It was partly talent, partly luck, and partly learning your trade. When I was a kid, I used to go to Lowe's State when you were playing there, and I used to sit for 5 shows a day and study you, and study everything that you did, your mannerisms, your takes, your everything that you did. I learned a lot from that. I learned a lot from watching you and other great comedians, and then I tried to develop a style of my own, a style like a singer develops a style, so that when you turn on the radio and you hear Tony Bennett or you hear Bing Crosby,
you know
or Frank Sinatra, you know that it is that particular person. You must get an identification so that people will know immediately who you are and that you're not just part of the other mob.
It's said wisely but true, and I'm very, very glad that you could be part of our Mad, Mad World of Comedy, and I'm very glad to count you as a friend. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Don Adams.